We have liftoff.
Have you ever heard about the recent launch of SpaceX's new rocket? If your answer is no, then we are here to get you into all the details. Hello space fans, welcome back to our channel. Today we're super excited to share some amazing news with you. The recent launch of SpaceX's brand new rocket at Boca Chica, Texas. Get ready for an awesome ride as we explore all the cool stuff about it. But hey, if you're new here, make sure to click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you're always in the loop with the newest space stories. Now let's jump into the deep and informative details. SpaceX's huge Super Heavy Starship, which is the most powerful rocket ever made, took off for its second flight for the test on Saturday. Everything seemed to be going well at first, but then there were some problems. The first stage of the rocket broke apart right after separating from the Starship upper stage. And then unfortunately, the Starship itself exploded as it got closer to space. Even though SpaceX sees this as a successful learning experience, it's the second time in a row that they couldn't get the Starship upper stage into space. This is not good news for Elon Musk's rocket company, and it could be a big problem for NASA too. NASA was hoping to use the Starship to take astronauts to the moon's surface in the next few years as part of the Artemis mission. In simpler terms, the big rocket had some issues during its test flight. The first part of the rocket broke apart, and then the second part exploded. This is a problem for SpaceX and might cause trouble for NASA's plans to go to the moon. Everyone is hoping they can figure it out, what went wrong, and fix it on the next try for sure. SpaceX likes to launch its rockets quickly and learn from any mistakes that happen. NASA, on the other hand, wants to see many successful launches before they think it's safe to send astronauts. The recent delay in SpaceX's test flight could be a problem for NASA's plan to land on the moon. But SpaceX says that even when things don't go perfectly, they'll learn valuable lessons. They believe that today's test will help them make their Starship rocket more reliable. This is important because SpaceX wants to make it possible for people to live on other planets. The head of NASA, Bill Nelson, also supports the teams working on the rockets. He congratulated them on the progress made in the recent test. Nelson thinks that space travel is an adventurous journey that needs a positive attitude and creative thinking. He sees today's test as a chance to learn from the mistakes and then try again. Well, breaking the quiet morning in Texas, at SpaceX's launch site in Boca Chica, the big Super Heavy rocket started its engines at 8:03 a.m. Eastern Time. These are special engines called Raptors, and they use methane to burn. There are 33 of them on the rocket. When they turned on, there was a lot of fire and it quickly covered the rocket in dust and steam. This rocket is huge, it's 397 feet tall and weighs 11 million pounds. It slowly went up to the sky and many people in the area, like residents, tourists, and journalists, watched it from South Padre Island. This launch happened almost 7 months after the first try on April 20th. The first time didn't go well. The rocket had problems just 4 minutes after it went up. The main issues were with the engines on the first stage. That part helped the rocket go up. Also, there were problems separating the Starship from the Super Heavy. This caused a big problem, and the rocket had a big fall. The highest it went was 24 miles, but this time it was different. The rocket took off, and it was a great sight for everyone watching. The second time they tried to launch the rocket, things seemed better. Many of the problems from the first test were fixed. All 33 engines on the first part of the rocket worked well, and a new system where the engines start before separating also worked. After separating, the first part of the rocket turned around to land in the Gulf of Mexico, but sadly it broke apart. This might be because of the new way the engines start. The Starship, the second part of the rocket, kept going up using its 6 engines. Everything was good until about 8.5 minutes into the flight. The people in charge lost contact with the rocket. Cameras couldn't see it anymore, and something in the air showed that the rocket might have been broken. A SpaceX engineer, John Isbrucker, said, "We lost data from the second stage." Elon Musk, the person who started SpaceX, was talking with the people in charge, trying to understand what happened. Later, Isbrucker said, "The automated flight termination system on the second stage seems to have started very late in the burn as we were going over the Gulf of Mexico. The Federal Aviation Administration said they will be a part of the investigation to find out what went wrong. They have to approve the final report and make sure everything is safe." The recent SpaceX launch had some positive outcomes and a few challenges. The Super Heavy booster and Starship upper stage experienced issues with the critical hot staging system test which separates the rocket's upper and lower parts, seems successful. The engines, including the 33-inch Super Heavy and 6-inch Starship, worked well during the visible portion of the flight. However, the reasons for the Super Heavy's breakup and the apparent failure of the Starship upper stage after engine shutdown are still unknown. The main aim for the launch was to test the hot staging system, which is crucial for separating the two stages of the rocket. SpaceX is working on this rocket, known as Starship, for various purposes. NASA is investing billions in a version of Starship to transport astronauts as part of the Artemis mission to the moon. SpaceX also claims to use Starship for deploying more Starlink internet satellites and enabling cost-effective space travel for government and commercial purposes, including missions to the moon and Mars. In a previous attempt in April, there were significant issues including damage to the launch pad, premature engine shutdowns, manufacturing stage, separating system, and a delayed self-destruct mechanism. To address these problems, SpaceX made over 1,000 changes to enhance safety and performance. Several upgrades were made for the recent launch. SpaceX added a water dilute system to the launch pad to reduce the impact of engine ignition sounds and their combined thrust. This was done to prevent the kind of damage that occurred to the launch pad in the April launch. Other improvements include replacing hydraulic actuators with an electrically driven engine steering system and a faster acting self-destruct system. While this launch wasn't a complete success, it did demonstrate a good engine performance and successful stage separation. More test flights will be needed to ensure the reliability required for human space travel. The timeline for these tests and when they might be ready for astronaut flights is still uncertain. The goal ultimately is to make space travel more accessible and, in Elon Musk's words, make humanity a multi-planet species. So there you have it, a front row seat to SpaceX's recent triumph at Boca Chica, from successful to challenges. This launch was a roller coaster of excitement. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and let us know in the comments what you're most looking forward to from SpaceX's future launches. Don't forget to subscribe for more space-related content. Until next time, keep looking up, because the stars are waiting for us.